Who wants to see what the garden's doing today? These allium have all bloomed. And the pollinators love them. It's the cutest thing. I accidentally ate one of them last year. There were two in this. And it turns out they're really good onions. In addition to being pretty. This lily from my brother's new house that he needed to have out of the way is done blooming. Picking the seed heads off of bulbs is a very nice thing to do for them because it allows their root structure to develop a little more robustly rather than putting so much energy into new seeds. Most climates don't support the seeds sprouting anyway. You really have to put a lot of attention into sprouting new seeds. And then these lilies have just opened yesterday. The tree lilies are starting to get to that point. And how cute! And they smell amazing. Woo! In the wind. So I'm really, really glad that I trimmed this bit of hedge because I had quite the shiner on my arm because I kept walking along here and there was like a really thick stump sticking out that I hit my arm off a couple times. Probably gonna have to water. It's been 90 for a couple more days with no rain, and it's gonna do a couple more yet. So you can see the rhubarb here is kind of wilting. That's alright. It's allowed. I say that a lot in my videos. That's alright. Oh well. We had a few really wicked storms come through, so I made use of the Y-topped branches. This isn't tied or anything, but it helped the hollyhock here not get knocked totally over. And it's about as tall as me, so this is a 5'5" deep maroon hollyhock. I need to get some of the seeds to take for the black hollyhock seeds I got. I really want some of those for next year. Let's see. So, got a ton of calendula, also known as pot marigold. And I've been thinning a lot of the borage because I don't feel like I need a ton of it. The amaranth is making a good recovery here from I left the gate open and the groundhog came in and ate the tops off of all of it. We have a bunch of echinacea blooms. These are commonly called purple coneflower, and the pollinators love them too. There's a pollinator on that one over there right now. I don't know if it's focused enough to be able to tell. But also the groundhog that I just want to trap and get rid of this groundhog has been eating the leaves off of the echinacea. Echinacea is gross tasting. It must be a really hungry groundhog. I've transplanted out all of the seeds that sprouted. Many of them have gone into here. I have two different new hops growing. And I've got another one trying to root in the water bit here. I've got to fill that. So, yeah, I feel like my little station here is going well. I really do. We'll see what I end up doing with this section again. Oh, look at the little caterpillar. Is he still moving? Yeah. That's a freaking out little caterpillar. These are both elderberry off of this. The elderberry fruited sort of well. I think it's because the other variety I have has reduced itself to kind of like one branch. I think it's because it wants more water than that particular spot in the yard will get. So I think I know where moving some of it would be a really good idea. And then of course it's got a ton of hops threaded all through it and up over this arbor. And it's still got two trees that I don't want to have in there, but I have not gotten around to fixing. I've been trying to level out the stones here. because they rock and tilt when I walk on them. And I think if I can get a good enough ground cover going, that it should be fine to have it, you know, just as is, without a whole lot more work, because I don't want to really have to weed. I'd like to have something that gets no taller than like 6 inches. I don't want to have to necessarily weed whack. I just kind of want it to, like this. This right here is perfect. That's called ground ivy. Yes, it's an invasive. Edible, peppery kind of leaf. Sometimes put in salads. Sometimes you see it with variegated leaves, which is the, like, you know, yellow with some green veining in it. So, and over here, I had transplanted, it just dried out. Okay, I had transplanted one, but I guess I needed to water it. Oops. It's been raining so much that I forget. You know, I just end up forgetting. So that, that never gets much taller than just going across the ground. And then I've got quite a few violets in there, and I've managed to sprout some pyrethrin daisies in the kitchen. So when those are ready to transplant, they're supposed to be dwarf, so I don't think they're supposed to get more than 6 inches. I'm hoping they don't, but to help keep the ticks out. I think that the ground ivy, because it has like a really strong scent, might also help keep the ticks and bugs out. So this is the front. We've got a few more tree lilies. Next year there will be a bunch. There should be anyway, because I planted a bunch, but because of the time of year I planted them, they were starting to grow their little stems, and they like broke. So only a couple of them didn't break the growing part out. And apparently that's, you know, once they do that, that's just it. Oh, here's another. That's good, right? I'm trying to build up the soil here. There's another hollyhock that's kind of ended up behind. Just kind of set that there, and then the hollyhock came up anyway. And this is an Easter lily I planted a few years ago in Pittsburgh. Yes, you can just plant your Easter lilies outside. They will keep coming back. I don't know why this onion's out of the ground. You can see my shadow of my massive hat. Looking good in here. The parsnips are really going strongly to seed. I'm glad a friend of mine told me that sometimes contact with the greens can cause skin interactions. I didn't know about that. Oh, look, there's peas. This is a nice shaded spot for peas, apparently. That's exciting. I'm going to eat one right now. Come on, come off the plant, please. There we go. Yum. These little kiwis are pretty big this year. They're only supposed to get about as big as grapes, so. That's about all you can expect. There's one that's been pecked on a little more. I've been trimming it a lot harder, as you can probably see, because it would be like halfway up over the arbor if I hadn't been trimming it by now. And that seems to be putting more energy into the fruits. I'm still not sure though, because in years past it's always dropped the fruits before they're ripe. And that can either be because these are seedless, polyphenocarpic is the word, which means that they produce fruit even without a pollinator. But I'm not sure, because something about them says online that, you know, sometimes they don't hold their fruit through to the edible stage if they don't have a pollinator. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep bothering with it if it doesn't give me food this year. I keep saying that every year though, so it's been like 5 years of me saying that. Bunch of random stuff in here. Most of it's edible. Spot marigolds are edible. These are dill. There's a bunch of Sonchus species in here, mainly the smoothleaf, sow thistle, those are edible. A little bit of spiny sow thistle, also edible. Cooked herb, you know, like a pot herb kind of thing. And then I see a bunch of tomatoes coming up. And then a whole bunch of weeds. Mainly grass and clover species. You can eat a lot. Oh, more peas. Yay, I'm gonna eat this one too. You can eat a lot of the clover species, but the oxalic acid count in some of them is not something I want to add too much of to my diet, especially since I put rhubarb and everything, and I don't want to increase that in my diet too much, so I'm kind of careful about it. These peas are so good. So here's the plum tree. This is my property line. The cherry and Saskatoons are totally done, and they're right here. And then the plum tree here, I still don't know what color this hollyhock's going to be, but that one's nice. And this like blanket of these little pot marigolds is very nice. I can see I got a couple of weeds I got to get up in there. There's like a Pilgrim's Ink plant. What else do you call that? It's got those dark purple berries on it. It gets about 6 to 8 feet tall. And in its young form, here we go. Oh, see? And its roots are huge. So I'm probably going to have to go after that with a shovel. But that's what those look like. You get about 6 foot tall Pilgrim's Ink. Pigweed. Yeah, there's a few names for them, and I can't think of the one that's most common right now. Oh well. Yeah, so here's the sweet cherry. That secondary application of nitrogen and potassium has given it the chance to recover its greenery. It seems to be doing well. There's another hollyhock. Still got a ton of onions here. I've been using them a little. Not much, but a little. And these are onions too. And I've been pulling out the hair alliums, these are called. Let's see if I can get a better picture of those. And I think that's for obvious reasons. Instead of having flowers, they have little fully developed bulbs that start to grow the greenery of the next generation. They end up everywhere if you let them. So I've got this little spot on the porch where it's really the only thing that can, because they'll just grow if you set them down. So I put them in the afternoon sun spot on the cement, which kind of cooks them. I prefer this kind of allium. The purples that are everywhere. I'd like to get a allium mix of the blooming kind. This little pawpaw's doing fine. Not really growing, but it's doing fine. This was the one that I wasn't really ready for. But I know where I want to put it when I am ready for it. And oh, this one's gonna have a weirdness to it. Look at that. Look at that weirdness. Huh, that's alright. Look, 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 it's so cute. They love it. Look at his little bumbleness. Here goes another one. Where do you go? They're so cute. Alright, so I'm still heat treating that area over there. And this here, so the front yard is really just like a mat of plastic and an overgrown corner that I haven't gotten to cover yet, and I'm really quite afraid of the ticks. I'm gonna have to do something about it soon, whether I'm scared or not. And then of course there's this gorgeous view out the front. There's a few more things on the outside edges, but I think this is enough for walking around for today. There's, you know, the street side, and then there's two different terraces down there that you can't see, but believe me, they're down there. I'm growing some thornless blackberries down there and some strawberries that are a little too shaded to fruit right now, but you know, we'll see what happens. And then I did get to talk to my neighbor about the tree, because the tree has some vertical cracking in its trunk, and I have a feeling that it's time to worry. So we're gonna talk about like what to do. I like this kind of clematis, the kind that just blooms and blooms and blooms and blooms, because it started right after that one quit. It's got a ton of seed heads, but it's also got a bunch of buds still, and that's very nice. Ideally, I think I'd want to transplant it so it shares the same support, so that I just keep having clematis flowers in one spot. And then, yeah. It's definitely summer now. It's July 1st of 2018. And I hope you're having a good weekend. Maybe get to swim, because whoo, it's a hot one. Bye.